9, 27,000.
Wow, we are right on time. Welcome in, everybody.
Somebody's going to gripe about it, Christopher.
It is... No, actually, I started stream a little early.
Chris has a really sexy haircut. I wish he would use his camera because he cut his hair and it looks really good.
It looks okay.
It looks great. Are you not liking it?
No,
It looks really good.
It's different.
It looks really good.
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I have to sometimes...
It's my haircut, except you have thicker hair.
I'm prepping.
Yeah.
Getting into...
You have... Character for what?
Oh. I can't break the illusion now. Welcome in, everybody. This is Friday.
Chuck says bunch of nerds around here.
This is the finest Friday paint sesh you ever done had. This is Jason.
Big Bob Zilla says, I'm just here for the birds and the bees. How do paints have babies?
Oh.
They mix it up. They mix it up.
That's great. They mix. Okay.
You're either on time or you're late.
That's good.
Well, you can be early.
Wait a minute.
There is a thing called early.
You're either on time or you're late.
There's no such thing as early. No.
Wait a minute.
Like,
no.
Okay, so if you're there 4 hours before you're supposed to be, are you just really, really late in the future?
Now you're blowing people's minds because I was like, wait, could you ever not? No. Hey, you know what? We're here to paint. We're not here to talk
it's
about
always
time.
way too early for you guys, chat.
Yes.
It's always way too early to have to deal with this, chat.
Oh, yeah. That's it,
You do have it. Okay, so the anxiety does not preclude the being early part, though.
That's true.
Thumb palette.
Have anxiety.
Those are not mutually exclusive. You can be anxious and early.
That is true. Wow.
Early is on time, but there's only about a 15-minute range where that's true, and then anything earlier than 15 minutes is annoying.
Oh, man. Hey, look at this. Can you show me how to do rusty metallic armor? I wasn't able to find the video for that one.
What do you mean? We can show you a link.
I'll show you a link, all right.
Oh, he's got a link for you boys.
I got you.
One man.
We have talked.
One video. Rusty metallic armor. In theaters. July.
Rusty.
That's Lombardi time.
Oh, actually, there's a bunch of... There's even a short, that one.
Yeah, we got a methodology, a short, a couple videos. We'll get you some links up.
The Glotkin one.
Yeah.
Here's this one.
I mean, the one that we show off a lot here is like the rusty steel that we did for the troll. This isn't a methodology, I believe. Or no, the video is where I did the Adeptus Titanicus model. We did like a Reaver, Adeptus Titanicus Reaver. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, I also have that one.
Yeah.
I have that one.
Yeah, so this is a really easy way. This is done with underpainting. This is taking a brush and stippling in burnt sienna, burnt orange, yellow ochre. It makes the model look very clown suit because, you wouldn't paint that way. It's just splotches of color everywhere. And then you dry brush the dark silver over the top and then edge the highlights with silver. And you get fantastic rusty looking metal.
Yeah.
And it's super quick.
I do this on everything.
I have to tell you, if you want something that just goes fast, looks super good, this is the way.
Yep.
Right?
That short, those links I just posted in their B-Town.
We did this in like 20 minutes on stream.
Yeah.
To do the armor part, not the skin and everything. They can't hear you.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Ghost Hunter Shush.
How are we all doing
It's a family
today?
show. We don't know what you're talking about.
How are we all doing today? The fine Friday.
It is a good Friday, I think.
It is.
I just had a business lunch. It was actually very good. I got to go to a good barbecue restaurant.
Well, that's... Ooh.
There was a question in chat that I wanted to make sure we hit.
Was
it was by... go back. Up.
Nope.
Up. Is there a link to Christopher painting Smaug? No. Mark Kuhn asked, will tariffs affect your prices?
There you go.
Currently, no. We've done a fairly good job, to pat ourselves on the back, of keeping our supply chain mostly domestic to North America. So long as things don't get crazy between Mexico, Canada, and all that, then we should be pretty good. We do have some products that come from overseas, some textile products like our bags, a couple of the tools and things like that. So we're watching things closely, but we have redundant vendors for a lot of our products. It's just something that I build into the process. So we hope not is the answer. But, right now, the way the geopolitical trade spectrum looks,
it's kind of it's a daily basis thing.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's kind of crazy.
We're here for the ride.
The issues right now revolve more around the fact that it has nothing to do with tariffs, right? That the politics behind it have nothing to do with tariffs, but tariffs are the method they've employed to achieve their goals. And I think that as we watch, regardless of what side of the political fence you're on, it's a crazy time in geopolitical stage. So
just that,
we just have to kind of deal with it and figure it out. But we're poised to be able to weather the storm pretty well. That's our hope.
Yes, we thank
it's having
you
a
guys.
big impact on the gaming world in general, because so many of like the board game companies are literally 100% Chinese made, and they just overnight, so many have had to shutter and just close business.
Yeah.
So I feel for everybody that's in that position. It hopefully will teach people in their businesses to build a little bit better for their supply chains and not to become too reliant, regardless of where that reliance is. Yeah. It's always just a bad plan. And I don't say that as a told you so type of thing. It just, in manufacturing, you always have to plan for what happens if the company you're manufacturing with is no longer around.
Yeah. That's the landscape.
The roller coaster, baby.
Hey, you know what? Life is a roller coaster, man.
I just want to ride.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to get off that roller coaster. Get on another.
Are they right next to each other, or are they down the street?
One's down the street.
That's a little too much hassle for me.
Got a question about my current project. I'm using red earth for my desert base on a squad. How would you go about approaching matching camo cloak for
burnt
red?
Sienna is your starting point. Our red earth is basically a version of burnt sienna. It's a little bit lighter, but burnt sienna is a great starting point. Then you can move into like burnt orange and things like that. They'll work very well with that if you're not painting the red earth. The red earth is also able to be painted. So remember that as a base coat color, you can put a wash on it, then you can dry brush it lighter, and then you can use those same colors over the model you're painting for the cloak and just start with burnt sienna. You'll get very, very close. Yep. Nice. CMON right now has, I believe, halted all current Kickstarter and future projects until they write it out. They are leveraged super hard into China and just have no recourse. They have no way to do it else. It just shows how even big businesses, like CMON's a pretty big business, and it just shows how if you leverage yourself out there like that, pretty hard. Guillotine and torch stocks are on the rise. Chance, what color would you guys use for a Russian T-72M1 tank if it calls for the main color to be Tamiya olive drab? So our camo greens work really well. I showed using black brown into dark camo green, and faded green. All of the Russian greens, and basically all of the World War II greens are very similar. The U.S. drabs have a little bit more of a yellowish tone, with the Russian ones being a little bit more leaning into greens, but I really like our camo green for all of them, right? I'm not the kind of person that cares, because as soon as you put number one, the paints in the factories were a little bit different batch to batch during World War II, as you can imagine, as resources changed. And then also as you put it out into the field, it would change. So once it's weathered, I think starting with a dark brown, like our black brown on this one, and then dark camo green gets you really, really close to a Russian green. This is more of a Russian green than any of the other, maybe British too, because the British and Russian were very close. All the land lease vehicles from the British and US to Russian they all felt the same to me. So whenever I was doing like scale model in any of the allied color greens, I would kind of use that same realm.
Hey, Ruben, 97 months. Rain Silver, thank you. Ruben, you're out there, 97 months. You're almost to 100, buddy. He's the OG.
Chuck says we make diesel engine pressure test kits. All the gauges come from China. It's pretty bad right now. The price quadrupled, and we need something like 2,500 of them by June. Yeah. Yep. Sugar Rush, what are you talking about? The paint is just to keep it from rusting. Basically, yes, that was all it was. And in a lot of cases, the primer is what did that, right? Like with late war, Germany was just priming the metal and hoping for the best because they ran out of the paint. Right? The ability to produce the paint stopped, whether it was because factories got bombed or just resources were unable to be transported. Remember, the Allies were bombing rail lines, so it depends on where you were timing.
So did all those colors change throughout the years. So like when you talk about that, I don't know the military color names.
I call it National Color Code. That's not, it depends. Like there in the modeling world, there's RAL color base, and the RAL colors were based on who manufactured it first. And so the RAL, and are there colors? Yeah. Like one of our competitors right now says they have the only militarily historic line. That's BS. That's just a marketing nonsense, because all of the color codes for things like Vallejo, Tamaya, all of those colors have all been vetted through those national color codes.
Have been around forever.
But just like any color, the pigmentations themselves change. So to say that there was one color of fabric for every U.S. uniform is a misnomer, because that's not the case.
Okay.
How they dyed the fabrics from different factories changes. You should know that if you buy a pair of blue jeans, Levi's, and you get it, they're made at multiple factories, and the color of your jean, even if you bought 501 red tag jeans, would be a little bit different batch to batch, because of the way the dye and the thread held, the type of thread, the weave of the cotton, all of that stuff. So there's all sorts of variances that you can get away from. The people that do the rivet counting and all of that kind of stuff can get you close and understand what is good. But yeah, those national color code, if you look up like RAL color code schemes, you'll find like yellow ochre is Dunkelgelb, the German dark yellow.
Okay.
It's just a yellow ochre, basically. And so, like, with our paint range, we have a tremendous amount of colors that are spot on the militaries. Like the brown drab is like the British browns, or it's actually called British olive or British green. Okay. There's different naming and things like that. So, and it depends on whether or not you were looking at the government or the military one. A lot of times it would change between the different divisions of the military, like whatever the Navy called it versus whatever the same exact color used by the Army called it.
Hey, thank you so much for those subs. Rocket Chicken, Ellie, thank you so much. Rocket Chicken, 97 months. My goodness.
Michael Holtz brings up a good thing. The ability to apply the paint. Remember that some of those were painted at one factory, and some of them were shipped overseas without the paint and then painted where they landed, like the Lend-Lease ones. Right. And so who applied them, how they applied them, it's silly.
It's so hard to
find. It's so silly. That world is always, I come from scale modeling, and as a kid sitting around listening to old graybeards back in the day talk about the coloring and be like, I can remember people talking about Japanese military greens and having an argument, not, a friendly argument at a store where they were saying like, no, man, the Tamaya, whatever it was at the time versus the testers is a world different. They call them the same thing, but those are not, and neither one of them are right. Just look at this book by Verlinden and it tells you what's really there. And I'm like, yeah, but even as a kid, I was like, but how did the print in the book? Because I guarantee you could open up two of those Verlinden books and the colors would look different in them. Right.
And what if one was older and that color of that print faded?
Yeah, that's why I'm always like, when we teach painting and people say, I've already painted my army in this color, how do I get that same exact color without buying that same exact color? Because maybe that paint's not available anymore or whatever. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, get close, because the eye and the brain don't distinguish at those levels. They can see the difference in those colors, like somebody talking about, I look at these two M60s and you put them next to each other and they use the exact same paint, but in light they look different enough that your brain can tell. But when you look at them in the field of battle or in the storytelling, it doesn't matter. And it almost adds more realism to have that variation, especially if you're talking about people with clothing. You can take a military unit, give them all the exact same clothing, but depending on who washed their clothes in what detergent and how often they wash it, those colors can be totally different. And it doesn't even matter if they handed it to the base to wash it. It depends on who was manning and how long they stirred it back when they washed by hand and agitated it by hand, and what the water pH was when they did. Come on, man.
Yeah, you start getting real.
That's why I always say color is like secondary or tertiary in your process of paint in terms of what is valuable and most important. The first is value, right? Contrast, brightness, and darkness will tell more of a story than color ever does, right? And you'll just hear that. The thing I think that we talk about a lot is that color gets all the accolades and value does all the work, right? So your play of light versus dark and contrast and volumes that you play on your model is what really makes the brain respond to the paint job, not the color. But color gets all of the credit because that's what we see and relate to first, and it's what 99.9% of the people can talk about is they can say, "Ooh, I love that green you did." But, it's like saying on this guy, right? It's like saying, "Oh, I love that green you put on the skin." And I'm like, well, that's not green. You know, we got green through mixing some things, so I couldn't tell them what color to go by, and I tell them the process I got, because it's really the buildup and the lights to darks, the contrast and the muscles and the variation that's really telling the story. It's just that it's green that makes that conversation easy. So same with the military colors, it really doesn't matter. You know, pick like our camo green, our dark yellow greens and stuff like that, and now you have military colors.
And all right, that's our TED Talk.
And now we're painting more. Oh no, we're on a dark navy blue, aren't we? Woohoo!
Now you're going out and picking all the bits out that you're going to paint.
Yeah, I didn't finish with the dark navy blue coating of all of the...
I just started painting up my zombies, just like how you did your...
How's it going? You liking it?
It's good.
We've had some people in Discord show off that they're using the same thing and really loving it. It's a great workup.
I am, like I was telling you this earlier the week, I'm figuring out how to balance the airbrush glazing, right?
Yep.
I'm just... literally
getting comfortable with it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those where you really lean into almost thinning too much.
Yes, that's what I did. I'm like, this is just not doing it. So it's just practice, but I love that color.
Yeah, you just thin more than you think is necessary, and then layer back up. Right? I can't preach that enough. Is that when painting of any type with models, as you're getting comfortable with painting thin, and whether you want to call it glazing or filtering or however you're painting, layering.
Yep.
Thin more than you think is appropriate, and then layer back up, because you can always add more paint. You can't subtract it.
Yep.
Right? Without a lot of effort. You can subtract paint, but you don't want to.
Yeah.
So, over thinning, even with stuff like this off the brush, you could thin it more than you wanted to if you were trying to layer another color. I'm going for, full coverage, so I'm just going kind of straight out of the bottle. But, treat it like you can add another layer. And with the airbrush, do it that way 100% of the time, right?
Yeah.
Because with the airbrush, it's quick to add another layer too, because each successive layer dries quicker than it does when you apply it with a brush, because you're putting less paint on the model, if you're doing it right.
Yeah, and that's what I think it's just it's a practice thing for me, but I've got a bunch of zombies I'm redoing for Frostgrave. Been fun. I like that game.
Awesome.
It's really silly and fun.
Awesome, yeah. It is built to be very flavorful.
Yeah, yes, and it's not too complicated. Obviously, I think, again, we were talking about this last week, our buddy Chance has every model imaginable 3D printed, so we get the best version of it.
Did you play here recently?
Yes, we did. We played another round the other night where we just figured out, like, okay, here are our official campaign warband wizards, right? So I've got Lord Spoopus.
Spoopus
of the pit.
Spoopus of the pit?
Yes, Lord Spoopus of the pit.
Sounds like a nightmare I had once.
And then I have Gravy Diggerstein, who is
Gravy
Diggerstein.
Chris, you have the best characters.
No,
was it Little Billy in the Wall?
No, Little Billy in the Wall. No, that was Little Johnny in the Wall.
Little Johnny in the Wall. He has this model over in the case that is Little Johnny in the Wall.
That came out of
It's
nowhere.
amazing.
That I was really devoted.
Is the wall sentient or just animated?
He is a spirit of a general that's locked inside of.
So it's sentient.
Yes.
Okay.
He can't. He would. Explain the difference though, because I'm a little naive.
Sentient is aware of itself. It has thought.
Yes,
it can think.
It has thought. Yes,
it can think.
It can't.
Animated
talk.
is just like a golem that can't think, but it can be controlled and move.
He is sentient. He had a whole backstory and.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
But I worked with an artist, some random guy on Etsy, and I sent him a bunch of examples, right? And because at first I'm like, hey, I need a wall with arms and legs. And he's like, that's awesome. I need some examples. So I ended up making him look like a Wampa from Mario. But then I wanted
so funny.
Hey, I needed it to be this certain height, and I wanted him to be to scale. I didn't want him to be massive, but I wanted him to be like, you know how the Hulk is kind of small, but is extremely strong, right? So he can take on Godzilla type of monsters. That's kind of what I wanted the wall to be.
It's funny because the wall is actually pretty tall compared to the fact that Johnny is like a hobbit.
Little Johnny is half a halfling.
Half a half.
So he was about a foot tall. technically. But yeah, I do I do like the character stuff.
If you ever have Chris the opportunity to sit down and talk to Chris about an RPG, he invests.
Oh, it's the back end stuff. Right now I have my current D&D character, you'll like this one, is named Katakai, and he is a book. He's a floating book.
Yeah, I saw you sculpting him.
That he knows everything but forgets it. That's his whole shtick. He has the answer to everything you want to know, but can't remember it. So his story is he's unlocking these memories, and as he unlocks them, he becomes stronger.
So every time he levels up, it's like unlocking some memories.
Yes, his whole story is like, oh, I remember this thing, or my group can ask me like, hey, do you know this? And I'm like, yes, but I don't remember. So we're gonna have to figure this out together.
Oh no,
I do know what it is. Oh yeah, I'll put little Johnny in the wall in the Discord.
So if he can answer truthfully that he knows it, then how can he not remember it? Because he has to remember that he knows it.
He knows that he knows, right? So his blessing was that his whole backstory was he loved knowledge. He was a wizard. Everybody came to him. Everybody essentially
he was the old man at the top of the mountain.
Yes, and he was really revered, and he was a loving person. Anyway, the thing was, though, he started to really love his books and neglect his wife, and his wife cursed him, and now
this is why you don't date witches, chat.
So his
especially if you are a know-it-all wizard, don't date a witch. Date
wife,
like a barmaid or something.
His wife placed
that way the curses don't hurt
him
as much.
Yeah, and so now he's
no voodoo women.
He knows it, but he can't remember because that's the curse.
Okay, that's the curse. So is that you're
the
cursed?
Torment is that he knows the answer,
all
he
right.
just can't remember it.
Gotcha.
So that's the internal cycle.
Gotcha.
And those are my characters. Oh, I do like character making.
My characters were just my guy's a barbarian. His name is Ooga Booga.
Ooga Booga.
And he swings a big stick. That's what he does. He bashes in heads. He charges in first, asks questions later. Let's play.
Yeah.
It's like that's RPGs with Jason. Thank you.
The fun thing in our new campaign, the Pit, because I said Lord Spoopus of the Pit, their Chance had me like come up with something in the world. And there is this massive pit in the ground that people worship. They don't know what's in the pit. We don't know. Bad things will come out of the pit sometimes, right? But there is a whole cult of people that worship this pit.
Okay.
Like it's their god.
Okay.
It's just this hole in the ground. And it's like it's a bottomless pit. And their whole thing is they are obsessed with the pit.
Okay.
We call them the Pitsters.
Of course you do.
So anyway. I like that part of D&D. It's fun. I get mad when my character doesn't kill something instantly.
So if you really would have taken this the distance, you would have had it be the pit, and its followers, you would have gone out and found the longest, most incredible foreign language name for hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And you would have named them that.
Called them that?
Yes. Because it's funny that it's the pit, and the people that are doing are the, and then it's like a mile-long name. Yeah. It's like, what is that? Oh, it just means followers of the pit.
It's the pit. We worship the pit.
We worship it would have to be like the translation for indescribably deep hole in the earth, you know.
And it's like a fanboy about the pit. So it's not like a weird like anger or like satanic-y or like whatever you want to put it. They're just like, oh, I love the pit, man. The pit is the way. So it's a positive energy about this pit, and they're all just batshit crazy. French chat. But yes, it is the pit, the Pitsters.
The French get a bad rap. Because I don't think they actually curse as much as we make it seem like they do.
That's funny. But yes.
Pardon my Francois.
Oh, hey, this is a painting stream, not a D&D stream.
That's what I was about to say.
But
nobody cares about this silly RPG
I know,
nonsense.
I could talk about characters all the time.
All you nerdy LARPing
Hey, but
weirdos.
You know what? If it gets you painting a model like that, Get it going. I didn't paint that one in particular, not Little Johnny on the Wall, but I did do the Katakai.
Did you not paint Little Johnny on the Wall?
No, I actually tried the Hero Forge colored print. That's what Little Johnny is.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm like, I want to test this out. I have a version of him painted.
Don't make it seem like you were doing it for science. You were doing it because you're lazy.
No.
Yes.
Actually,
He did it because he's lazy, chat. Don't let him get away with that in our chat.
Oh.
Chat, X is in chat for Chris and his lying.
You want to know
Chris
why,
is lying
actually?
again. He's lying to us,
gosh,
chat.
No, I did it for science.
Last week,
was...
I thought that last week or earlier this week, we lambasted you enough for your lying ways that we wouldn't have to deal with it anymore, Christopher.
Chat, I'm getting. Oh no, the X is. Oh God. Oh. See? Here's my justification.
Here's the lie. Here's more of the lying.
Those were the dark days, is what I call them. Those were the days where Mr. Christopher didn't want to paint Jack anything, right? Those were the days where I'm like, well, what can I do to, those are my dark days, my college experimental days, whatever you want to call those days. I was avoiding painting. And now look where I'm at now, chat. I am sitting in front of a master painter talking about painting and painting my own stuff. I am the poster child for Rebirth when it comes to painting stuff. So, yes, Jason is right. I was lazy.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yes.
That's what I was waiting for.
I will confirm. But
that's all we needed.
I am here now.
The truth is out.
And the personal painting journey is just... I am on that trail.
Doesn't it feel great when you go from, like that kind of nonplussed, you're almost just complacent or apathetic about your painting. You just want to play the games, and nothing wrong with that at all. But it is a weird, chat. How many of you have had that experience where as you got into the hobby, you were just excited to get models on the table, and so maybe you speed paint, dry brush, had your buddy paint it or whatever, and now you've transitioned into experiencing for the first time somewhere down the road, you experienced for the first time a model you finished on your own, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter what the model looked like. Right? It was the fact that when you got done, you were like, oh, this is rad.
That's where I'm at. Yeah, where are you at? B-Town says, I don't play basically ever anymore. I just paint and give them away.
100%. That's all I do. Well, I don't give, minus the giveaway part, although some of mine are giveaway, but most of them we keep here in the studio so we can show you how to do things.
Yeah, like I said, I like playing games. They're fun, but it has 100% pivoted for me. I am more about the theme and the idea of the army rather than playing it almost.
Yeah.
But I do that with
and that's a big problem for
me
because we talk about it a lot in terms of, I can envision how I would paint this army.
Yes.
But I'll never paint the army. Because once I painted one dude, now there's really the gameplay is what used to lead me to finish the army. Now, if I'm not playing the game, even though I can envision how cool this would be as an army, I really just paint one model.
Yeah, I love seeing the army in its theme and done.
100%. I'm with you. It's the best thing ever. It is it's that same feeling times a million, right?
Yeah.
When you get it all on the table. The problem is that what led me to finish the army was the playing of the game. And if I'm not playing the game, if it's not a game I'm interested in playing, then finishing the army is hard for me because I don't have it's easier for me to paint the one model and then paint another model that isn't part of that army because it's like, I have other bright shinies I would enjoy painting,
No, I agree with you. I have totally gone into the theme of stuff. That's why I do like the little games like Frostgrave because that whole little warband is easy to paint. It has its own theme now and it's done.
So chat, tonight after stream, my plan is to assemble my Freeblades army.
Oh.
And start painting that.
Nice.
On the side for fun for myself.
Whoa.
I know.
Off stream?
I know.
Wow.
There you go, chat. That's gonna happen.
I've got those little stones I gotta paint then. We'll rally the troops. Derpstick has a question. Would warm yellow and pale yellow be a good substitute? I have burnt sienna and Nova orange for the workup colors that were used for the non-metallic gold. Maybe is that a part of
warm yellow and Pale yellow.
Yeah.
Yes.
If we're talking about the non-metallic gold work, actually make Chris paint. Oh, I paint.
He paints a lot.
I actually have a lot painted right now.
He, like I mentioned the other day, he's the only one that has a fully loaded cabinet of models he's painted. Although I'm finding out that he didn't paint them all. So I'm taking a little bit of that.
Little Johnny in the Wall
majesty back.
Are the ones that I did not paint. Most of them are painted though. I am gonna redo my goblins now that I have pro acryl in my life and not Montana Gold spray paint. Because that's what
you did do those in Montana Gold.
Literally just straight up Krylon or Rust-Oleum and Montana Gold. But now I want to do like a whole monochrome building up from Payne's Gray and then do legit fun stuff with them. Welcome in, Dusty Hobbies. Hey, welcome in, everybody. First of all, happy Friday. Second of all, where have you been? We're so happy you've decided to land on us. When I mean us, I mean we.
People.
The people. Us as in we the people painting with Jason. Jason has done a fabulous job here painting up a white armor Tau ghost keel.
Ghost keel.
Now he's going and grabbing all of the metal bits, question mark?
Yeah,
it's all
or
metal.
Whatever this
whatever
is.
We're trying
whatever
to do.
Space material this is that the Tau use. It's the gunmetal bit.
The gun, that's
the
it.
stuff that I'm going to have all be what would, you could paint as like black,
yeah.
In a standard thing, but I'm basing it with the dark navy blue. So we have a little bit of interest to it, not just, blacks and grays. Because we paint the model white and we start with a base of gray. So I'm always trying to think in my color schemes what other colors not only complement it, but help it to have a little bit more depth. And if you have a base color that is, kind of bland like white, let's be honest, it even with the blue shadows to it, it's still hard to make white feel super duper interesting.
Yeah.
And so to get interest on a model that is mostly white, I will do stuff like this. We'll paint what would normally be black, which is also a dull, uninteresting color. It can be on interesting bits of the model, but by and large, it's kind of a dull, uninteresting color.
That's what it looks like from a far out view, chat. You can start seeing the panel lines and all that pop when you add that blue.
Yeah, we're getting rid of all the overspray areas.
Agrippa has a question. I do have a question for Jason. I'm wanting to practice non-metallic metal more, and I put the Flameon signature set into my cart and wanted to ask if you feel like these colors would work well for that before I click the button and pay, or would you suggest a different collection of PA colors?
I mean, the Flameon set is fantastic for golds.
Yeah.
It will give you a cool gold, kind of like what I like painting with, except it's leaning into the brown side of it and uses more of the pale yellows. So it is fantastic. It is, we used to have a warrior that he started painting, but you can go check out most of what he does. And that kind of low temp gold is fantastic. Yeah, if you just said no, thanks. So yeah, that range, that's what it's built for, is to take you from step 1 to 6 and use as many or as few of those colors as you want. The orange brown, fantastic, right? So there's some really, really good colors in there. And that's the way he's done this.
And that was not even finished. That was...
Oh, no, this is just his blocking in of color.
He took all of 2024 Adepticon sitting at the booth to do that.
Yeah, he hasn't even blended anything. This is all just his blocking in of colors.
It's
on
cool
the armor
to see.
For the warrior.
It is really cool to see that progression from that stage and then have it live in that.
Yeah, you can see the blade edge that he did for the axe.
Yeah.
Same thing. Nothing's blended yet. It's all just the staging of color. What he calls his sketching, right, is all this is.
Yeah.
But you can see with just our neutral grays up on the axe, and then his set, using only his set colors for the armor. Yeah, it worked great. Fantastic. You cannot go wrong with that set. It leads you from, like I said, all the way through the steps. Just go from the darkest to the lightest color, and you got it.
Yeah. Yes, he's quite amazing. Derpstick. Jason painted non-metallic gold on a bear, and the colors were burnt sienna, Nova, orange, bright yellow ochre, and bright pale. Good to know warm yellow and pale yellow works as well. Yep.
Yeah, the warm yellow in place of the ochre, if you don't have the ochre, it will just make your entire gold a little bit brighter into the yellow scale. Be a little punchier yellow. Because warm yellow is a, more of a true yellow. Yellow ochre is more of a brown, if you think of it that way. Was it in the off position and you just moved the temperature down?
It was cool. Oh.
Well, there we go.
Oh my goodness.
Speak of the devil.
Literally as I...
The lamps are overheating. Welcome to Arizona, chat. He says to tell you not to panic. Even though our lights died. Welcome to Arizona as it heats up. And for some reason, the AC is not kicking on over here. It really is hot. That's going to need to be fixed. It's going to do it again. So probably ought to go fluid with the AC.
Yeah. Hey, if you need... Oh my God.
Sorry, chat. He's going to get it figured out here in a second. Gotta let the lamp cool down. The problem with these big studio lamps, they generate a ton of heat. I can still see what I'm doing, sort of. I hope I'm doing it in the right area. I hope I'm using the right color, chat. Is this one not wanting to come back on? Or are you just worried it'll kick right back off? Oof. That's a little right in my eye. But I can deal with it. I can deal with that. It's just the angle of it is hitting me right in the eye, but I can deal with it. I'm a professional. That's the old light? Yeah. Oh, okay. Maybe it's just because you kicked it on while I'm looking at things.
I think I just threw your...
They don't care, Chris. They're here for me, not you. He's in there saying, "Tell him I'm coming back." Like you can't even respect them enough to show them your face, Chris. So how do you expect that they care? I am razzing him so bad. You gotta love Chris. He takes it very well, chat. No. So good. Might be a breaker. Might be a breaker.
Oh.
Might be a breaker. An emergency light. Yeah, Aaron Avenge says, "Show us your face, Chris."
I won't.
He won't. He says he won't. He says he can't do it, which is he won't do it, chat. It shows a lack of respect, in my opinion.
A lack of...
It's like these VTubers. If you can't show me your real face, why would I watch your stuff? Like, seriously, you're not a dog. Show us your real face. What's your problem?
You're not a dog.
I said you're not a dog. These people that have like the VTuber dog face or whatever it is.
Oh, Oh, yeah.
Right? You're not a dog or a panda bear or a fox or whatever it is. Show us your face. Why do you hide behind a mask? Show us your face. I don't trust people that don't show me their face. It's just the way it is for me. I have to stare at your face all day long. You just won't show chat your face, which is what started this whole conversation. Why should they trust you, Chris? You're asking for their trust.
Chat, I am so sorry. I will have to go back and find questions. Hey, repeat your questions and tag me. I had to figure that
Emergency
out.
medical services to our lamp.
Yes. But hey, we're back. We're not in the dark, right? We're in the light.
Kind of in the light.
And actually, that was an intentional example of how lighting actually really helps you paint minis. So I'm going to stick to that one.
That's a stretch right there, buddy.
I'm going to stick to that one.
That is a stretch right there.
Because I'm very afraid that it's going to turn off again.
It does usually, especially if we can't get it cooling down.
Yes.
We need to get like a fan, like an electric fan in here to run, but it generates noise.
I do have a noise gate.
That one over there is what we usually would keep on this time of year. This is the first time
I could try turning it on. Let me try turning it on.
Yeah. They used to hear it because the production desk was over there. Chat, can you hear a fan? You hear a fan, chat? Fan, 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 fan. Fan, 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 fan. Fan, 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 fan. Nope, no fan. Chris did that on purpose to make us think he's actually needed.
Whoa, hey.
All right, I have to defend Chris on that because Chris is hyper important to the stream. I cannot possibly reach over these screens and press all those buttons by myself.
I need Jason to be on point for you. So you're welcome, chat. Our talent needs precision. And then I have a little app here that will turn on gaming
Chris
lights.
is an absolute workhorse around here. In most meetings, we're trying to figure out how to make sure Chris doesn't kill himself by working too much. That's usually what most of our meetings around Monument Hobbies are about.
I do my best for
this is Monday's meeting to determine how to keep Chris from killing himself.
I hear you. I appreciate Monument. I am here for the people. We the people.
Oh, God. Why did we have this conversation?
And, yeah. I come up with solutions, and now I have to also focus on chat and not think about that light. So,
this is also giving you a deep look into Chris. Chris will not let go of the fact that this light could turn off at any minute, and now he is like triple tasking.
I am dialed
in. Stress.
I could fly a plane right now. You're like, oh my gosh, is there a pilot on board? I'd be going, yes, there is.
I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express.
Hey, speaking of Holiday Express, welcome in everybody. We're back.
That has nothing to do with Holiday
If
Express.
you saw our example on how to paint in the dark, you're welcome. That's all I have to say. Doghouse Hobbies, thank you. Chris has control. That's right.
If you had a question and Chris missed it while he was doing emergency surgery on the lighting, please ask it again in chat. We don't want to miss you. We do not want to ignore you. Please ask again. Make sure to tag Monument Hobbies.
Here it is. Okay. Roadside. Perfect. So I have a 2-for-1 kind of question.
Okay.
We love those.
Sure.
Would this workup also work well for the Charadons? Is that how you pronounce that? Charadons?
Charadons.
Yeah, color scheme. And additionally, what would you do for the gray skin for like an elephant or rhino?
So the last time we did our big rhino model with the big plasma accelerator on his back, I did warm gray, like dark warm gray into warm gray into red gray highlights to give it a little bit of pinkishness on the highlights, so it seemed more alive. Because the problem when doing any skin that is gray is that it's very easy to lose any type of life in it, right? Because gray is very neutral. It looks like, you rock, painted wall concrete. So you want to put a little bit of color in it, but also knowing that skin like elephant and rhino hide is usually pretty thick. So you're not going to get a lot of the color from underneath the skin like you would with human skin, right? So where we underpaint skin with greens and purples and reds and stuff like that for humans doesn't really work the same on elephants because the skin is so heavy duty, thick, and is opaque. Does not show you the veins and stuff from underneath, whereas our skin is very thin. So there's that to consider.
Okay.
But other than that, using the dark warm gray and warm gray I like because they have a little bit of a a greenish yellowish tint to them, so they again are not just neutral gray. And then red gray as a highlight worked really well. I like it. This is like one of those times where as I move around the model, I'm like, oh, there's this thing that needs to be this color. Oh, and then there's this thing that needs. Oh, and then I missed this part. And oh my gosh, there's this. Oh, and these things. Basically anything that's not supposed to be white on this, other than a few bits that I already have planned for doing like whatever accent color we do, like the head, want to be this base of dark navy blue.
Derpstick has a question. Are the texture trainers safe to put in a paint stripping liquid if you want to redo a paint job? Or
it should be the resin, so long as
okay.
it's not something that will melt resin, then you should be fine.
You know what? Speaking of that, I need to clean your glass palette.
What? You take such good care of me, Chris.
What's that?
You take such good care of me.
I actually do need to do that, but I haven't. I found a bin that I can put it in and then let it soak overnight.
Awesome.
So that's how you did it, right? That's how I do mine.
It's a 5-gallon bucket.
Oh, okay.
We would use the 5-gallon buckets from production.
Oh,
they're over on in the other building now, so we don't have a lot of 5-gallon buckets. But you could have Michael bring you one.
Yeah, I might do that.
Just say, hey, bring us an empty 5-gallon bucket, like a cleaned out empty 5-gallon bucket, and we would just use that with
dish soap, like
a dash of the stuff that they clean the machines with.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Which is Simple Green.
Simple Green. Okay.
Yeah. So have him bring us like a cup of Simple Green and a 5-gallon bucket, and you're set for life.
We will get that palette clean for you, chat.
We might have some Simple Green here. I don't know.
I think we do.
This is beyond my purview.
How
above my pay grade.
91% IPA will take everything off. I bet you it would, Blu-ray.
Also true. And the IPA is safe for the resin. So as long as you don't like leave it soaking in it, you got to be careful with that because the IPA will eat the resin away.
New Sarlacc pit. Yeah, that one we have deemed that is more of a relic and example now than cleaning it out is less important. The Sarlacc pit that Jason has.
Chris won't go anywhere near it.
I won't. And you know what's funny? I have one at home that I'm creating. I have old Tupperware that I have been.
It's like a cool science project.
Yeah, let's see how far I can get this one to go.
The fun thing is like acrylic paint is just plastic, so as it builds up in there, you get this really cool plastic that you can use for like terrain.
That's one way of putting it. Cool. All right, look. Yours, man. But also, the amount of paint is, stream amount. I don't paint that much because I just don't paint I don't paint 2 hours a day. Yes, Okran, it is gross. It's
gross.
tasty, chat. I would never. That was a test and you all failed. Don't eat the paint.
Chris.
I do paint, Agrippa. I'll show you the pictures.
Chat, this is your time. Did I get all the things or did I miss some? Are there any more doohickeys that need to be black?
I'm going to zoom out here for a second.
Oh, yeah, there's one there.
Thumb palette. Would you guys ship to the UK? I know you said support my FLGS, but I'd like to ask for some Wizard's butt and won't get any here in the UK. Also, don't give me the FOMO answer. Maybe. There's your FOMO answer. Ask really nicely.
No. So we have, oh boy, what is a FOMO answer?
I don't know. I think anything you're about to say
that gives him hope. Is this a "Don't Give Me Hope" kind of a movie scene?
Yeah. So Thumb Palette.
Don't give me hope.
I don't know any answer that Jason's about to give you is not going to be the FOMO answer.
So we are in the process of opening up Monument Hobbies EU. Not too many people know this, but we will have an EU website, which is closer to you and cheaper to ship from than the US.
That's a big deal.
At that point, we will have Wizard's Butt available through monumenthobbies.eu. Not directly in the UK, but that doesn't preclude you from getting it from there. So,
no, that's big news. Oh, what about the vent?
Oh, vent behind the head. Good catch. See, chat. That's why I lean on you.
Dusty Hobbies.
This is why I lean on you, chat. That's a good catch. That is a good catch.
Dusty Hobbies. Perfect catch. It is a big move to do that opening. A lot of work.
Yeah,
that's
it's
for dang
huge.
sure.
So to better support all of our lovely community members over in the EU directly, you will be able to buy from a Monument Hobbies run website that ships directly from the EU to your door. How about that?
That's bonkers.
Actually, Monument employees, Monument-owned corporation, the whole nine. So it is a big deal. So now it is not done. So realize this is one of those things where I'm announcing the product before the product's available. There are any number of governmental things that could preclude this from happening, but we're pretty far down the road, and the attorneys seem to think it's pretty secure right now. So I don't feel as bad saying it. But as always, anything like that is such a huge investment always has the ability to change at any time. But that's our goal right now. We already have 2 employees.
Mo, Wizard's Butt is not going to be available for everybody. That is a special thing that happens in
at this point, we're not
fashion.
talking about Wizard's Butt like being available on the website as a color, although we've talked about that in the past. Really all that makes, and it could happen, that requires production to be able to do more than just produce the paint we need to sell. And right now we're still in that world where we kind of keep up. We're like on the verge, right? We don't have back orders, but we're only able to produce what we sell right now. So.
No, that Amazon store page is us. That is not an imposter. Blu-ray.
Amazon is us. If it says sold and shipped by Monument Hobbies, that's us.
Yep.
There might be other people that try to sell on Amazon every now and then. We usually get them taken down, but that is us. It ships from here. Each morning they print out all of the Amazon orders first. So yeah, that's us. That is us. I'm going to try to just paint this unprimed plastic because Chris didn't love me enough to actually prime the model down here.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So we're going to paint unprimed
what are you gonna
plastic
do?
and show you how that works. Not my favorite thing to do, but it is. You can do it. You need to probably put like 2 or 3 more. You've seen that I've only been putting 1 coat on stuff as I've been painting it. I will put 2 on this, just even though it's not out in an area where we touch it, just because it'll shrink a little bit funky as the first layer adheres to the unprimed plastic.
Sir Blame, isn't Wizard's Butt just a pot of random pots mixed together?
Yes, 100%.
No, there's not a Wizard's Butt set. No.
We hinted at one. That did not come to fruition. That was one of those tricked you.
I will say, a wizard is never late. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Yes, we know.
So that's what we'll say about Wizard's Butts.
Because the butt has to go right along with the wizard. You can't separate
typically, the 2. Yeah.
You don't really separate
scientifically, yes.
I'm going to tell you that covered really well in one.
It did. Hey!
It
Bud's asking, are you out of brush-on primer, though?
Well, that would have been 2 steps.
That would have been
I'm traditionally a very lazy painter, and when I can get that to happen in 1 coat over non-prime material, I'm okay with that.
Are you going to glue it down?
Yes.
Are you not painting the guy? Are you going to paint the guy inside?
No, but I'm going to paint this without it glued so I can do the highlighting and stuff, and then we might glue it once I paint the helmet.
I thought you said you were going to paint the guy and then glue it down. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm going to paint that guy, and then I'm going to hide him and glue it with super glue so you can never see him.
That is called insanity, chat. And I know people are going to give me crap for that.
I paint the inside of my tanks, and then I glue the doors shut.
Because people do say that. Isn't that a thing in our space?
What?
Where people have to paint the inside, but then sometimes glue it? Or are those people in jail?
Those people usually get taken out to pasture, hung by their toes from an electrical fence.
If you're painting, this is a hot take, and I'm ready to die. If you're painting,
you're ready to die or die on that
I'm just
hill. This
ready
is something
to
we
die.
need clarification.
I'm ready to go. This is it for me. If you paint the inside of your models and then glue them shut, you need to be taken to the hospital immediately. And you need some reform in your life.
Yeah.
And I'll say it. I know that's a hot take, and I'm coming off strong in that opinion, but I am here for you. You can call our 555 number, and we will get you help.
555. That's the Hollywood.
It is.
That's the Hollywood prefix, so that they can do numbers in Hollywood, and you'll never get a call.
Here's what we're gonna do. We just got a whole new beautiful phone system for Monument. I'm gonna come up with a number I'm gonna have Gabe get me here. This is a real thing. I'm gonna have Gabe get me a telephone for my desk. If you need help about painting when it comes to that kind of stuff, I will give you 5 minutes of my time to make sure you're on the right track. I wouldn't be able to sleep well knowing that you're painting the inside of your tanks and then gluing them shut. That's insanity.
So I have to applaud Philip for leaving this hinge able to be moved, because that's the only thing that allows me to paint this turtleneck that he has. So Philip did this on purpose. I'm just now learning this.
He did.
Philip is my hero. That makes the model that much better. I'm sick of painting navy blue, so we're moving on.
Yes.
We're moving on, chat. Moving on. So we're going to mix navy blue with pale yellow. Or do I want to paint the yellow helmet?
Paint the yellow helmet. Vince says, Wad says that Vince says, some people paint the inside of rhinos. That's sociopath behavior.
Yeah, that's sociopath behavior.
I'm just saying, I'm here for you.
I see it all over the internet. People paint the inside of the Land Raider.
What?
They paint that little screen at the far wall with the guns hanging on it. It's the bulkhead that's at the far end, and then they let the Land Raider doors open, and you can peer in there, and you can see it, but nobody looks. You guys are nuts. Absolute crazy.
Call me. Yeah, if you're out there,
one of the things in scale modeling is you would take a tank, right, and these guys will do cutaways. You know, in the
Yes.
books, you'll see cutaways.
I do know
so
that.
they'll alter the model and make it a cutaway and build those interiors from scratch.
Cool. That's cool, though. That's telling a story, right?
That's insanity at another level.
That is a art.
That's investment.
That's investment.
That's like serial killer investment.
But they cut it out.
It takes an investment to be a serial killer.
But they don't cover it.
But the inside of the model didn't come with the model. They made big cuts in the model, and then they turned the inside into its real inside.
That's different kind of insanity.
So I'm watching a guy on Facebook right now who's building I think it's a T-80 Russian tank, and it has an autoloader on it.
So he's doing the whole inside of it?
He's modeling this autoloader contraption.
That's bonkers.
It's insanity, dude.
That's bonkers.
Insanity. Like, the thing looks amazing.
I'm sure it does.
But it's insanity.
Fathoming
it's cool, but
war.
it's mental. Yes, that's the way I think we got to look at it. Cool, but mental.
Yes. Now, if you're gluing it, that's different. That's bonkers.
Have a good one. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your Trench Crusade game.
And you can barely see the screen.
Oh, you can't hardly see it. You got to get a flashlight out to be able to see it. Oh boy, how about those truck driver simulator people? Okay, I have to admit something, and this is going to say a lot about me probably that I don't want out in the public eye. But I was looking around on Twitch one day, and one of our monumentals, this was years ago, was playing Euro Truck Simulator.
I watch that stuff
and
sometimes.
I clicked in on the guy because I was like, what is he doing? Because it said painting miniatures, or it said Warhammer back before we had the painting miniatures thing. And I was like, what is going on? And just on the weekend, sometimes I like to bounce around to different streams that doing miniature painting. And I went up in there, and I have to admit that I was mesmerized, and I just kept watching.
Well, was he like in an actual thing, like where he had the whole rig?
No, I think it was I think it was just on his computer.
I've seen some of those guys where they have the whole sit in the rig and they've got that. That's crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. I want to say thank you for answering my question to Jason. I just placed the order for those. Awesome.
Nice. We love to hear that.
With a special note to Chris on it. I can't wait to see that one.
Oh, boy. Where's little Billy when we need him?
Dusty says, I feel like Jason would enjoy Night Shift's work on YouTube. Does he do scale modeling? I might have seen it. I look at tons of stuff on YouTube in the model and the hobby world that I don't remember names. I'm at the point in my life where I'm not trying to remember names anymore. It's really hard.
Oh, you've made that mental decision.
Super hard for me, Chad.
When's the cutoff? When do you stop doing that?
I think for me it was like 40. It was right when I...
Oh,
right,
it's an age.
Yeah. Well, for me...
Different for everybody.
Well, I think it's when your brain fills up.
I'm done. No more names for me.
You have to make a decision. You have to say, am I trying to remember names for this kind of stuff? Like, am I trying to remember who was in the movie? Or am I okay with saying, you know, that guy with the hair who played
that guy?
The dude in the movie? And I'm fine with that being my line of communication when it comes to pop culture. So I've stopped even trying to remember who it is. It frustrates Jen to no end because I'm like, that guy... We'll be watching a show. I'm like, hey, that's the guy that played that other guy in Game of Thrones. And she's like, what? And then she looks and she goes, oh, it is. So it works. And that's why I don't worry about it anymore. I clear out all of that area of my brain. I wipe and reformat that part of the hard drive so I can put new stuff in there because I'm a learner and I like having new things in there, but I have to remember what kind of new things I can stand, and it ain't names.
Yeah.
I've determined that when I was like mid-40s. If you don't remember, that's fine. If what's his name produced the stream forgets my name, though, I'm offended. Right, exactly, Game Delay. You get it.
I am. There's a
Tank Mechanic Simulator. This is a thing. I've seen the Power Wash Simulator stuff, and that drives me bananas. I'm like, how do you guys play this thing?
I'd rather use the tank and blow people up. Yeah, still try that game.
Scale modeling and dioramas. I've probably seen it. Yeah, I've probably seen it. He did. He cut and sculpted a Sakarian battle tank to look realistic. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, that's the thing that I love about the big, like the Forge Roll tanks. I have a insert Thunderstorm plus other name generator here for their big tank. Yeah. I have a... Thunder Hammer.
Oh,
Hammer.
You would totally probably be
Thunder Hammer thing. Right?
You totally.
Oh yeah, there's like a big E100.
This is Night Shift.
Yeah, I've thought about building. I have seen his channel. I've thought about doing an E100 model, but I have not been able to find one in stock that is very good. Because it's one of the paper tanks. It was only ever. I mean, they found like a hull and a turret for the mouse, but there never was in production. And it was like Storm Sword, Storm Blade, Thunder Blade. I don't know. It's not a Bane Blade variant. It's a different tank from 30K that is an Imperial Guard 30K. Oh, sorry. Astra Milit. Oh, sorry. So, I don't know what it is. I don't know the trademark names anymore. But it's an Imperial Guard Storm Hammer. It's a Storm Hammer.
Okay.
It's called a Storm Hammer. It has the big twin long Baneblade cannons on the only forward arc mounted thing, and then a turret up on top of that. It's crazy. It's what I'm using to make my Space Marine tank out of for 30K for my Dark Angels. Because they didn't have, I think the Space Marine is maybe called a Stormblade or something. I don't remember what's, it has the round turret top, and I don't like the round turret top, the domed one, so.
Buzz got a question. When the new primers come out, will any of the current primers be eliminated?
No. What we're trying to make happen is that the primer... Well, hopefully all the primers will have a seat in the new retail rack. For the time being, when we come out with the new primer variants, the stores will have to determine what primers they want to carry. There won't be enough space in the rack for all of them. So we've thought about moving the camo green and the black brown to web only. But the stores will still be able to buy it, right? It's just right now they don't fit on the retail rack. No, it's not. Is it Fellblade the Space Marine one? Yeah, I just don't like the round, the domed top Space Marine one. I don't like much. So I bought whatever the Imperial Guard 30K one was, which is really cool. And I think it's called a Storm Hammer.
I think the next...
I have it in my office. Yeah. Or I have it. It's in one of these rooms.
Yep.
It's a big Forge Rolled box that is a... I think it has some of the Baneblade sprues for the plastic and then a bunch of resin bits to make it.
Gotcha. So. I still got to find that... Oh, for this, are you going to start painting the yellow helmet? Is that your idea?
Yeah, I am. I think we need it to be very warm yellow. Is like, my idea here. So
when you say warm, it's you're not. Are you talking?
I wouldn't. I don't know that I will start it with green, although that's a choice that we could do. but I think it might be better if I start it with,
Mahogany.
Mahogany.
Is that a good color for
burnt
that?
sienna, something along those lines, and have it be an orangish yellow. I think would look really cool against the coolness of the blue and the white. Right? We could start it with browns. What do you guys think, chat? What do you want to see? Green, brown, or reddish? Reddish would lead us more orange. Brown will just be dirty yellows, and greenish will be like our non-metallic gold kind of work.
Sienna, burnt sienna.
The burnt sienna, kind of like a warmish yellow. What do we think?
Voting yellow with green. Warm yellows are great for snipers. Okay. Burnt sienna.
Burnt sienna. So reds, some hot pink. No.
Ghost Hunter, your band. Reddish.
Some reddish. So we go through oranges to get there. I'm good with that. Let's do that.
Okay.
Sounds good. Let's do that. We will start with burnt sienna, my friends. Pa-pow! That's the sound that paint. That's the sound that paint makes when it goes from there to here.
Boing.
Pa-pow!
Hey, wait a minute.
What? I don't need the white anymore.
You don't need to put it back. I got that.
I put the white back.
You don't have to, though.
I'll put the blue back, too, so you don't yell at me. Because
hey,
it looks like
Jason,
you're about to yell at me, and I don't want to get yelled at. So
you
blue's
do
back now.
not need to put those back.
There's only one color out of the racks, and it's this one that's in my hand. Pa-pow!
You do not need to put paint back in the rack anymore.
I do what I want. You're the boss man.
I hear you.
It's like how my mom talks to me.
I hear you. Hey, speaking of hearing you all, it is 3:06.
What?
MST, Mountain Standard Time. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. We have just about 53 minutes left of stream. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Jason painting up a yellow helmet. And I don't know why I put a question on that.
Is it a helmet? Or is
it's
it
not
It's like a robot head. Right?
It is a blast shield of like
yeah,
it's
I
a
feel like it's like
a fancy windshield.
Like a cockpit.
Yeah, it's a fancy windshield. Yes, there is a weather report. It is a beautiful, hold for applause, 91 degrees outside, 86 currently, high of 91 here in Phoenix, Arizona. And we've got a little cold front coming on this weekend, I believe.
Really?
It's going to be a beautiful day on Sunday, 76 here in Phoenix, 83 tomorrow.
I like the way that sounds.
In Carefree, where I live, it's even colder than that. Yeah, it's 67 on Sunday. It's going to be a beautiful weekend to paint, to travel, to do some soul searching, whatever you want, chat.
Soul searching?
Yeah. Grab your favorite model.
Is
grab
soul
your favorite
searching
paint.
Temperature dependent?
Hey. Oh. That's a great question.
Like, when searching for souls, is it better to do it in cold weather or warm weather?
Definitely cold.
Cold weather?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And hey, grab that favorite paint and start slapping it on a model. That's my advice to you for your weekend.
That's what I plan to do.
Get cozy. Get your favorite paint out. Start painting. That's all it takes, Jeff.
I've got to come in and start working on 14 new colors.
What?
Yeah, I just said that out loud.
What?
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God, we need a break.
I know.
14 new colors. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my reaction.
I know.
What?
Chris is done.
Oh my
Chris quits.
heavens to Betsy! It is hot in the studio.
Chris quits.
I don't quit. Someone must captain the Dutchman, and it's Jason right now, and he is taking us on the 14th. That's crazy. I don't even know what you just said out loud, but you did. So, chat, let's bring this back to center.
What was your childhood like?
Man, I blocked out most of those memories, chat. It was cold and dark and soul searching.
Is that the room they had you locked in? What was that? Cold and dark.
Wow. Well, I guess we know what Jason's doing today.
Not today. Today I am putting together my free blades.
Oh, today.
And I have 2 armies for free blades that I need to put together.
I will paint
a bunch of the team is here doing their Friday night D&D. So I figured I would maybe sit out there with them and build some models.
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
Hang out with the team while they do their RPG LARP nonsense.
14 new colors. Well, good time to stop watching stream forever, says Game Delay. That way I'll never know what the new paints are. Do. How about the new brush set?
Never heard of it.
Oh,
labels were ordered.
And they're coming.
I've given them all the costing information. Kyle's working on that. Yep. They have been going through QC, checking out really well. They're here. So it's really just a matter of days before we get the labels in and can start selling them. We decided we didn't want to sell sets without labels. It just isn't who we are. It means that I couldn't sell them to retailers, and I want to make sure we can launch them all at the same time. Gives us a little bit of buffer time, too, since we launched the AMP set. So,
and like I said, too, going off what Jason said, we will announce that right away on socials when that is live.
100%.
And also keep the eye on Discord as well.
100%.
I'm excited. That's why I keep saying it that way, because I'm going to get in line. I would like these.
What do you mean? I already have some.
I know you do. I want some for my home.
But I already have some.
Okay.
I don't understand. I already have some. What's the matter, chat? I already have them. They're great. You see me using them right now. What are you talking about?
I was doing some searching up there. I gave you another cup filled with your paintbrushes off here to the side, and that white one is in there.
Oh, it is in there.
Yeah. So I found, for all of you who didn't know, just a little tidbit. If you go back and watch past streams and you see Jason using that brush, it's the white-handled brush.
I'm going to paint these things yellow down here, too.
We had a question from Mo about matte varnish the other day. We talked to Kyle about it. He said we sold out, but it's coming back. The new batch is getting prepped, so stay tuned for that too. That's going to be back in stock. Maybe an actual brass metallic color?
Brass? Yeah, like what you really want is you just want a yellow or gold, one that's not so orange.
Brass?
Brass is just yellow gold. Just very yellow, like fake gold color. So yeah, we've thought about that. We've got some other metallics we're working on, so you might see some stuff that is up your alley soon.
Soltaire's asking, what are these new brushes I keep hearing about? You want to give them a lowdown, Jason?
So what I'm painting with right now are our new Dauntless brushes. I have, over the last year and a half, been painting with a white-handled synthetic brush that has been a real workhorse, something that we were working on to introduce some new filament that we have developed. Well, we didn't develop it, but has been developed that we worked with our partners to bring in and test. That gives us the ability to have a lower cost synthetic brush. We've always in our lineup had what we called our utility, it then got called our artillery brushes, and they were light blue handled synthetics. Now we're calling them Dauntless, right? So we have our Pro Sables, Pro Synthetics. The Pro Synthetic line includes our Pro Synthetic dry brushes, our Pro Synthetic normal, and now we'll have the Dauntless brushes. And this is a 5-brush set. So it has a, let me get them all on here, a 00, a 1, a 3, a 5, and a BAB, big flat dry brush.
I love the BAB.
Right?
Love it.
So
it's a good brush.
00, 1, 3, 5 BAB. So a 5-brush set, and it should retail out at $22.50. So a really, really good price, half of what you would pay for any of our other brush sets, and give you the ability to be a really good kind of discovery set. The Be Dauntless, the Be Fearless thing is for people who are just starting out. This is a way to get yourself some brushes that you can beat on as you learn your technique, find out what's comfortable for you, and not feel like you had to, blow the bank to get there. That's always been one of my things, is that I want you to have a brush set you can buy that you can rely on to do everything from washes to metallics to dry brushing to, beating up your base coats, do some detailing with it. Just an always roundabout go-to brush for when you don't want to grab your $35 Sable brush, for something that you're going to beat it up. Stippling, right? Techniques that are more going to create throwaway situations for your brushes. You don't feel as bad when you get, each brush is, a little over $4 a brush. So.
But also with the proof of, hey, Jason has been using this one for a long time, so you can get them to last, essentially. So
yeah, this is This is the brush after all of my use and no cleaning. So when I get it wet, it still points back to normal.
And that is a brush that has been under use. Go
like literally every model that we've painted over the last year has had this brush do the bulk of the workload painting, and these are number 2s.
Oh, here's a good question then about that. So what's the biggest difference between those and the Pro Synthetics?
The Pro Synthetics will, in most cases, be able to take a little bit more abuse and last you a little bit longer. They are a more expensive filament that is built that it literally comes out of like the camping world for strength and durability and the ability to hold its shape over lots of flexes. But the thing that it also does is it absorbs and releases paint like a natural fiber. And that's the big kick, right? And so what the Dauntless brushes do is they load, absorb, and release paint in a very controlled manner. So even if I press really hard, I'm not going to get a big droplet of paint coming off the brush, which is what's indicative of cheaper synthetics, is that they can draw a bunch of paint up into the belly, but then when you press the brush on the surface, they tend to release paint in an uncontrollable way. It feels like they're giving you more paint than you want, so it's hard to do very fine details with them consistently. The Dauntless brushes act like the Pro Synthetics and give you all the control, but they probably, I say probably won't last you as long. You've seen they've lasted very long for me, but I have a very delicate touch. The idea is that they will last longer if you have a delicate touch, then they may replace the Pro Synthetics for you. But if you have a heavy hand, then you'll be able to get more life out of the Pro Synthetics. One question about your shadows, specifically under the arms and the legs.
Did you glaze any of those raised vent areas?
No, where are we talking about?
Yeah. I don't maybe here? I don't know.
The highlights I went in and lined, like under the arm and in the dark spot of the legs and such, but nothing's been glazed. All we've done here is airbrush and then the edge highlight and now the base coating of the dark navy blue for all of our metal bits. And then, of course, the yellow I'm working on now.
And going back to the brushes, would you clean them the same way?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Just normal. Okay.
100%. The more you take care of your brush and clean it, the more life you'll get out of it, regardless if it's a synthetic or a natural.
Oh, yeah, I'm super excited for those. They are going to be... I like tools that don't break the bank and still have incredible value. And I'm not just saying that to say that, but like I get jazzed for like... This hat, I've seen the proof.
Yeah.
It lasts for a long time.
Yeah.
It then becomes about how you do it that makes the thing last. There's the proof in the pudding, right?
100%.
So I dig that kind of stuff.
If you've been around here for long, you know I'm a value guy. I want to make sure I produce and create and
use
live all of our products the way I would if I'm the consumer, because I know growing up what my stages of the hobby were, and some of the most expensive things that you ever have to purchase continually are brushes.
Yes.
And so being able to get a brush that feels valuable because it gives you lots of working time, when you have to throw it away or move it over into its, relegate it to just being a stippling brush, you want to feel like, okay, that brush was a great brush. I want to get another one of those, right? Because I will tell you all the time, I'm very honest, all brushes are disposable. It's just a matter of when. Okay?
Yeah, and going off the cleaning part, says Source, would it be best practices, in quotes, to clean it using the goop after every session, or is it just putting unnecessary stress on the bristles?
No, cleaning it after every after every session is the best way to do it, because you continue to make sure that the belly around the ferrule does not get loaded with paint, which is what kills brushes. And the longer that goes, the more buildup and drying it gets. Remember that this acrylic paint we're using is just plastic, so you're loading plastic into your brush every time you're painting. If you allow it to dry around the ferrule, now you've got that hardened plastic around the ferrule that keeps it from functioning. Now it can't form a tip as well. It's a real problem. So cleaning after every session is by far and away your best way to treat it. If you're cleaning properly, it doesn't put any undue stress on the bristles to do so.
Yeah. Keep them clean. Maybe change out your paint water every once in a while.
Whoa.
You want to know what's funny?
I don't need that kind of negativity
Jordan
in my
went
life.
over when Jordan was on the stream. He looked at your paint water. He's like, "What is is this? He's like, I just tried to clean my brush.
Oh, it ain't going to get clean in here, baby. We don't clean brushes here. We paint with all the nastiness that preceded us.
All the nastiness. It's all a part of the plan.
It is, man. It's part of my painting style. All that color makes sure that I have a very cohesive buildup of blending on my models, because every color is impregnated from the start with every other color that I've used on the model so far.
When you said impregnated, I think that's when I started to lose belief. That's the key, chat. Never change your paint water. You have been watching videos for years. You've been watching tutorials, reading articles. The one thing they don't mention is the paint water. That's the magic. So there you go. Michael, for synthetics cleaning with what? We clean it with the brush goop.
We make our own.
I will send you a link.
Gentastic's Drunken Brush Goop, which
And
is
if you
fantastic.
haven't tried
the
that,
best brush soap on the planet. It cleans, conditions, and reshapes your brush. It's a leave-in conditioner, reshaper, and obviously a soap for cleaning as well.
Flapjack. I only change my paint water when I feel like I need to reset the vibes in my painting.
Yes.
There you go.
When you change a project is when I clean my paint water. Or when I don't paint for a while.
No, I don't think so. That water's pretty old. I haven't seen you replace this.
I've added new fresh water to it, which is the same thing.
I don't think so.
Yeah, 100%, right?
It's still got the old stuff.
Well, but you've diluted it now, so it's not as intense.
Hey,
of a
you
coloring.
know what? Whatever works for you, chat. And this works for Jason. So get rid of those excuses and hop into that painting chair or that painting standing desk, because you should get one of those at some point.
People that argue with me about my technique, I'm like, dude, I do it live, on stream, 5 days a week, thousands of hours a year. I don't want to hear about your naysaying nonsense. I can prove to you it all works. I am not full of crap.
It just takes practice.
I may be full of crap, but
that's a different story.
that's a different story. It's a whole different thing.
Oh.
All right, so I'm mixing the orange yellow in with the burnt sienna here, you can see.
Yep.
Huzzah. I would say probably 30-70. More orange yellow than burnt sienna to get a little bit lighter color. And then we're painting that right over the burnt sienna base. Very little thinning. I'm just water on the brush to make sure it flows. That's all I need.
We actually have a video. I'm gonna send you that about cleaning your brushes. That is a video I would like at some point to have Jen come on stream and just show us the ways again.
Like our most viewed video ever, and it's our oldest. Yeah, we tell you everything from, in one of those videos, we show you everything from how to clean using our soap, to how to redress your brush if you have stray hairs after using it for a long time, how to clip and trim, all of that.
And also going off of what you just said, Bellacore, I try consciously following Jason's tip about forming a brush into a chisel. Yep, it makes for great sense. It makes it really fun to paint too for some reason. Oh yeah. That's the Chasing the Point video, which is this one. For all of you who want to know what Bellacore is talking about. And then that also ties into a really good how to paint the lines video, which yes, it is a dope looking blend.
What's that?
This blend you're doing right now.
It's funny because if you go in real close, there's we're just basically layering it one right over it. We're not blending anything. and really just letting the color create the blend by being close enough color-wise to one another. Again, very simple. Not a lot of effort needed here. Just get in the right place.
I picked up using the thumb as a palette before painting my miniatures. Nice. We also have a good one on that one too.
Yeah, just a really easy way to make sure you get your both the viscosity correct and the opacity. Just a great way. And as you paint, over the course of a session, paint longer, then you wind up with all of those colors on your thumb palette. So you're also being able to see how those colors are going to blend as you layer them and such. Works really well.
Game Delay says, good tip to the brush, good lighting, reading glasses for the aged, and giving myself permission to be to be bad at painting. The best things for making painting fun.
Yeah. I love the, I know you're kind of doing that tongue in cheek, but the permission to be bad at painting is a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
I tell everybody, it's funny, Steven Garcia, great painter.
He won the Best in Show.
Won Best in Show at Nova last year, right? For his Supreme bust, comic book character. And he posted something the other day about having basically artist block going on. And one of the things that I wrote in the responses, the replies on his post was that, when you can take out the expectation from your passion, and this is global, right? If you have a passion for something, try to remove all your expectations from the outcome of your passion, right? And just go into it and do it, because that's where you'll find your way easier, right? And we talk about it in lots of ways, like stop judging your miniature versus other people's miniatures with the way you paint versus the way I paint or Chris paints or somebody else on Instagram or your favorite painter paints. Forget all that. It's nice to hold up those things as pictures for reference material, but don't judge your work by them. Only judge your work by the last piece of art that you did, always. Because then you can see your progress, right? And as long as you continue to progress and pick one thing instead of the whole thing, don't make it to where your whole model better be, better than the last one, because you may be trying 18 different new techniques, and to be good at 18 things or better at 18 things than you were the last miniature painter is much tougher than saying, on this one, I'm really going to focus on the cape, and I'm really going to focus on the cloth, or I'm really going to focus on leather. Pick one thing miniature to miniature that you want to really focus on: texturing, lighting. Pick one thing and really get through that one thing, and then relate it back to the last miniature you did and say, yep, nailed it, because boy, does that feel good. And it keeps your passion involved in your hobby. If you laden it with too many expectations, which a lot of these pro painters do as they get into higher levels, because they start talking to one another and they start looking at what each one does, and they start envying the capability of one artist versus another to do something you're not good at or something you've never really done. And so then you can get bogged down if it doesn't click for you. This is the highest level of painter we're talking about, right? So think about it. When you're in the trenches just painting, just stay passionate about it. Just put paint on the model.
No, I 100% agree.
Oh, yeah. You keep that space for yourself over and over. Yeah, yesterday's you is the only person you should be comparing yourself to, 100%. But you have to believe that. You have to be have a conviction about that. You can't just repeat it like it's some mantra that you can throw away. You have to live that. You have to live it. I don't care if this model looks better than anybody on the internet. It's not in my wheel. Don't care. It's taken me 55 years to get to that point. Not really. I've been doing that for the last over a decade. I haven't cared at all. But it is a release. I have enjoyed my hobby more. I started a business about my hobby once I got over the expectation of the passion for my hobby. Isn't that weird? I got to the point where I was like, you know what? This would be fun if I just did this, woke up in the morning and did this for a living.
Yeah.
Because I started to enjoy it so much. So, and all of that was built around the fact that I don't care what anybody says about it. And this was at the time when it was first starting to make appearances, where people were posting their work on YouTube and Instagram and stuff, is where I really went through that very quickly, where I wasn't seeing as many likes on things, and and I wasn't doing the Spanish paint, and I wasn't doing the thing, and I was like, I don't care. It's not how I paint. It's not what I find enjoyable, and so you just stop caring. And when you stop caring, it's a release that's like, oh, now I can focus on what I do enjoy, and then you start progressing and seeing your work get better and better and better and better over time. 100%. 100%. Not comparing yourself to better artists will stifle your progress. Source? Incorrect. Let's use language that makes sense, because you're not comparing your work to theirs. You're comparing your work to the guideline that they set forth by that idea that you put out there, because you hold it into your inspiration photos or whatever. You see a sword and you're like, ooh, I want my swords to look like that. You're not comparing yourself to that painter. You're comparing yourself to the idea of what the sword looks like. That's the big distinguishing fact. Because there's one that when you don't get it right, you say, I'll never be that good as that person. Incorrect thinking when you're doing your passion. Right? When you say, didn't quite get there, I know what I need to change, you've removed the personality from it and you've looked at the progress of the technique. And that I agree with you on, right? You have to you have to find things out there, but it doesn't have to be another artist. A lot of people look at things in the real world. They get inspiration on Google Photo and they say, hey, I want to look at blue cloth. And they pull a bunch of pictures down of blue cloth and then they try to recreate that. Same thing. That's the way you should look at all of those inspiration pictures, whether they're just, a representation, or another painter's thing or whatever it is. It might be a style and you want to mimic that style. Great, go for it. But don't think about the person creating the style. Think about the style and how close you've nailed it, or if you find something along the way you like better, whatever. You have to be that kind of flexibility. And that's part of just comparing it to your own work. See the progress you're making as you go through. Because nobody's going to nail it the first time. We just kind of know that.
Hey, if you weren't here yesterday, because we weren't, there's your Therapy Thursday. Right there, chat. Put paint on the model.
Artistic Outlaw, well said. Yeah, you appreciate the compliments, but you don't do it for the share. You do it for your soul. Yeah.
Right.
It's weird because, the internet has changed the way we think about art in a lot of ways, not only with AI and all the nonsense there, but in the fact that when you share your art, you're not just sharing it. It used to be that when I drew or I painted something, the only people you shared it with were the people right in front of you. And that experience that you were sharing with people as they're around the table or looking at your army is a lot different than when you throw your picture of your army out there, because does the photo look good? Does the color on the monitor they're looking at it represent it correctly? In the digital space, you're never sure they're really seeing what you did, whereas in the physical space, you're more assured that what they're seeing is what you presented. And so it's a weird world because you're inviting people to talk about it that you don't even know. And so there's a weird dichotomy or a weird thing that you associate there, that if you post it on the internet, you're obviously looking for the feedback. Otherwise, why did you share? Right?
Well, that's a good point, though.
Right?
Like, what is so...
You do. Right?
Yeah, you're looking for, when you post something, you're looking for...
feedback.
An intentional... whether it's good or bad, your heart or your mind is set on, well, this is not going to not get feedback. Yeah. So why, if you're not... Yeah.
That's what I mean, is that in the old days, whatever that means.
Well, I mean...
And for a lot of us still, it's like my version of when I get the model done is, or you get your army done, it's like, oh, I'm going to game night this weekend and I'm putting this on the table and it's going to be a flex.
Yeah.
And you put it down and it's a flex because it works. You're there in front of the people and like, oh, he finished it, or oh my God, those look so great. And that is cool because that world that you set it down in front of is controllable. You decided to go into this place with these people in this environment you're familiar with and set your models down. Even if it's just a group of players you don't hang out with very much, you know the mentality. And so it's more controlled. You put it out on the internet, it's uncontrolled, right? Somebody just on their algorithm gets your miniatures put in front of them one day when they don't even care, and they just make some asinine comment on your feed, and all of a sudden it can knock the wind out of your sails. So that's the thing I mean when I'm like, when you put it out there, you just have to have kind of built in the understanding that I don't care what people say. I'm putting it out there to collate my photos. I know that on Instagram I can always go back and look at the history of things I've done on the last 10 years or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. No, that's a good way of putting it, right?
Oh, source, yeah, exactly. You don't get offended if it's not as good as someone else's. Yeah. Yeah. I just know that the truth of humans is that we all feel let down when we get our hard effort turned into poor response, period. No matter who you are, no matter how you react to it, deep inside of our souls as humans, it always affects all of us similarly. That I will fight till my grave. Is that if you put your work into something and put it down on the table and unsolicited, somebody goes and buys, dude, get good, scrub, you suck. That has a feeling, even if you're like, I don't care. It's like when people tell me that they don't care if they win games. I'm like, you're lying to me, right?
Yeah.
Because you do care. Winning feels better than losing. You may be okay with losing. It doesn't mean you're not there to win. And there's nothing bad. I think we start to say that, looking for grandeur starts to feel bad because it feels like it's an ego attached to it. Yeah. But it is also fun when you walk in and raffle stomp somebody with your armor.
Yes.
Right? It just is. Regardless of if you're Timmy or whatever the nature of the gamer is. I have some people that say, when I sit down, I don't care if I win or lose, but I watch them and I watch how they act when they win versus how they act when they lose. And they're still great people either way. They're not sore winners or sore losers, but there's a difference. If Kristen were to hear our opinion, why would he make a studio setup with such good lighting and sound?
That's funny.
We love your opinion, right? That's the thing, right?
No, that's cool.
D-Fresh. Yeah, I like sharing what I've learned with others too, right? Yep. Well, and if you put it out there, I think all of us wish, whether silently or outwardly, that you had more control over the environment that you present it into. And some you do, right? Because you have your own personal group of your gamers on Facebook or whatever it is. And if the more consolidated, the more village it feels, the better controllable it is and the more shareable things feel. It's when it's that whole wide world, throw it out on the internet, see what you get back, And especially for the people who have garnered some type of popularity in that world, then they're very vulnerable. They have to be able to do even more of what we're talking about because now their stuff gets shared by other people into realms they didn't even put it into. And then that feedback makes its way back to them. And that can be pretty brutal.
Yeah, that's...
You just like pretending to know how to play and folks nice enough to go along with it. I have been in that position a lot. Oh yeah, I'm ready to throw down. And I don't even know the rules. Talk to Chris. He cheats all the time.
I do.
The big thing around here is that Chris reads 2 lines of the rule book and says, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I experienced that. I know how that goes.
Oh, chat. I'm just excited.
Bastage.
I get too excited. Here's a painting question.
What?
Hey, and also for all of you who needed some inspiration, get painting. It's funny that all that stuff. I have a collection of things I've painted over the years that I keep in my attic and I'll pull down every once in a while, right? And I'm like, oh well. I always think like, oh, should I show these? Should I not show these? But like when you really think about it, it's the fact of just doing it, right? We talk about it here is the good part, right? Not necessarily the having to be out in the world, just the act of doing it. Is the thing that brings that.
I mean, we have to understand too that society changes, and a lot of people want to share for the accolades of sharing.
Yeah,
and that's one where painting, the physical construct of painting, because you can't just immediately be great at it. Some people can, but you're not, and so there becomes that weird issue with people who have found things to be easy, and you see it in painting, and you see it in football or hockey or whatever you do. You find people that have had it easy. One of the things I always talk about is when I was a hockey coach, I coached in the junior stars level when the Dallas Stars first moved to Texas from Minnesota. And as one of the assistant coaches on a junior stars team, it was interesting to deal with parents, and I use that word interesting lightly, because we were in a world where football, baseball, and to some extent basketball were huge. You can imagine how huge football is in Texas, like Texas, Florida. It's like the Friday Night Lights thing, right?
Yeah.
So you had players who were so excited to play hockey, but who had no finesse with skates, had never done it really, and then would join the hockey team. And you put them on ice skates, and they're a little awkward, right? They still skate from their knees, not their hips, and so their motion was a little not fluid. It was stiff. Let's just be frank. It was stiff, and they had to keep their eyes on the puck, so they opened themselves up in full contact hockey to absolutely just get slobber knockered. And so as you're teaching these kids, but in Texas, believe it or not, we had a lot of transplant families from Chicago and from Canada because of Nortel, which was a Canadian-based telecom company that was in the North Dallas corridor, had a big, huge presence in Dallas. So you had a lot of Canadian families with a lot of kids that knew how to skate who were really good. And then you had a lot of kids that were great at every other sport and sucked at hockey. And you had to deal with these parents because it was like, hey, they've been the best their whole life. My kid is the second string quarterback, on Plano East High School, which is the biggest high school in North Texas and has won tons of championships. You can't talk to him like that. You can't bench him. You have to let him play. And I'm like, as soon as he learns how to skate, he can play.
Yeah.
And I wasn't being an ass, I don't think. They thought I was. But it's the same with everything that you do is like, I think that sometimes people maybe they're great canvas painters and then they start painting miniatures and it doesn't translate well. And so they open themselves up for some criticism that doesn't feel as good as their normal criticism for their artwork. So again, it's just something where I wish we could draw that back and we could just have good discussions about, dude, I really like what you did here. Have you thought about doing this?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, will take offense to me, if I say, hey, I think if you played better with your shadows, they're like, I've been painting for 50 years. I'm like, well, so have I, but
Hey, try this. And speaking of that, Skelly B with a raid.
Skelly B!
94. Thank you so much.
Slobber knocker, says Steven.
Skelly B, you came in the perfect time. We're just sitting and chilling and talking about getting paint on a model.
Slobber knocker.
That was the
that's
word.
A good open ice hit is what it is. Slobber knocker.
You got that one, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Because the spit and the mouthpiece would go flying on a good one, so it was called a slobber knocker.
Hey, welcome in, Raiders. Skelly B, thank you so much for that raid. We appreciate you. And welcome in to everybody. We are painting up a ghost keel here. Now we're working on the helmet. We are Monument Hobbies. We make the paint you see Jason using right now called Pro Acryl. If you haven't heard of us, welcome in. Yes, we were just having a little bit of therapy Thursday on a Friday. What's the moral of the story, Jason?
There's no moral. The moral is put paint on the model and forget what people think. Who cares?
Right.
Well, I was going in with, society these days tends to think that your greatness and your accolades have to be public or the thing you're doing isn't worth doing. And I'm like, wow, that sucks, right? Yeah. The thing you do, if it in private makes you feel better about yourself and the world you're in, is the best thing you could choose to do at that time. 100%. So do not let anyone else influence that if you can get to that point. I know that's hard, right? I know that's hard, especially when, like I said, your biggest sharing structure is the internet, where people are not known to be the nicest all the time. Right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell people, well, just tune all that out. It's fine. It's
Internet's
never fine to be told you suck.
That's just human
And the
nature.
internet is not known for diplomacy. So
what?
I'm just saying.
What? This is news to me.
I'm just saying.
Well, wait a minute. You mean I can't trust everybody's opinions?
I'm just saying.
Say how?
I had to be very... Okay, so now I have to say that it's also in human nature to be, I hope, to be honest. And it's hard to be diplomatic sometimes and tell that mother that your son sucks at hockey.
But Jason...
So diplomacy. He just needs some work.
Diplomacy.
I think that by mid-season, he may be able to make third line.
But my boy, what have they done to my boy?
So you baffle him with BS. You'd be like, and third line is the line I turn to really structure the flow of the game, which means that I expect the third line to be the bullies who can't shoot or puck handle well, but put a good big body on the ice. So a lot of the football guys became third liners because as they learned to skate, they could get their positioning right and they could put a body and slobber knocker people. But I wasn't expecting them to score very often.
Wow.
I'm not saying I would whisper in their ear, see number 12 on the opposing team? I need him on the boards 90% of the time he's on the ice. I'm not saying that that's how I coached. But I'm saying football players were really good for putting a body on people.
Game delay. I stopped writing fiction because my need to already be good and be recognized for it killed my love of writing. I had choked my ability to learn because I was afraid of being awkward.
I'm the same way. I have, it's funny, but I'm the same way. The things that I can't be good at quickly tend to fall away very fast. And that's just a personality trait. And am I proud of it all the time? No. There's times where I had I put more effort into things that I was afraid of messing up because they didn't feel natural for me. I should have stuck with them. I would have had a lot of fun. But I've let my need to be great quick in certain things take the place of, investing. And you have to invest. The time you put forward, it turns back in spades if you continue to keep it up. Being a jack of all trades is not always the best thing in the world. Sometimes it's good to focus in on a thing and people feel and do better.
That's a good point.
When they really do, as opposed to trying to do everything and disposing of things that don't feel like you're, tremendous at them all at once. This is now just warm yellow by itself, by the way, and I'm kind of just glazing it. Yellow by its very nature is a little less opaque, so you don't have to use a whole lot of water to thin it down, just a little bit. And again, I'm taking most of it off on my thumb palette, so by the time I go to the model, I'm not goopy with paint.
Yeah.
And it just gives me a really good thin coat over the orange, soaks in a little bit of that orange so that it blends, so to speak, and then feathers out at the edges. I just use a very light brush stroke, so I'm not getting big, chunky start and stop to my brush stroke.
So the base of the Ghost Keel armor was dark navy blue. It's one of our new amp
The same
colors.
color I painted all of these parts that are supposed to be black is dark navy blue. That was the base coat for everything.
Yep. That's one of my favorite pastimes when I'm feeling it is writing, but silly writing.
Game Delay mentions that, and that's something I aspired to do, was write my own book one day.
Yeah.
And when I got into it, I found out that I didn't enjoy it because it didn't feel like it was natural for me.
Oh, okay.
And this was back in the time where you had to have, like, computers were not readily available in the personal space. So they made typewriters that were spell checking typewriters, right? Word processors, they were called. Remember this? Anybody old enough to remember word processors? You had typewriter word processors and, a physical keyboard that had a little bitty screen on it that would help you by spell checking your words as you went so that you could erase and all that. So it was that part of a computer into a product. And I had one of those that I invested in. And I'm going to tell you guys a secret that I don't think I've exposed to too many people in my life. I bought a pair of glasses that had no vision correction because I thought by wearing these glasses while I sat at my word processor, it would pull me into a different person, like a different personality, so I could focus on my writing. Yeah. So it was kind of a forced...
A placebo.
I will become Stephen King if I put these glasses on and sit in front of this thing and start typing. It didn't work, right? Because, I was not in the right mind state. I was thinking, oh, this should be... I will just sit down. I have all these great ideas. I'd made all these notes, and then I went and I tried to turn my notes into words in a word processor and lost all the creativity. I found that my creativity flows when I'm talking into a microphone about, there's this thing with this, I have this idea with it, and then I need to hand that to somebody who goes and writes a book. Because for me, the physical aspect of typing the words took and sucked all the creativity. I couldn't find my way to be in a creative headspace when the mechanics of typing and I type very fast and very fluid, but my creativity went away. It lasts to this day. I cannot be creative typing. I have to write hand in a notebook and sketch and do things like that, and then it's good. But as soon as I try to take it from the sketch pad to functional wording, then I lose it. I can't focus. I stop paying attention to it. So again, I think it's all about finding the method that helps you deliver your one and being okay with the fact that here's my notes, Chris. Can you write that for me?
Yeah. No, that's fun. That's interesting you mentioned that because I have an opposite problem sometimes where I actually feel like I come out more in my writing when I'm writing.
As opposed to being verbal or... I
feel like I can get out my when it comes to that, right? My creative writing, I feel focuses me. Whereas where I speak sometimes, which if you are just now understanding this, I don't know where you've been, but I'm a little bit scatterbrained when it comes to my speech sometimes.
No way.
Right? It's sometimes a little word salady. But when I write, it gives me a chance to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing right now. That's very interesting.
He's lying to us again, chat.
I'll send you my book, chat. It's my retirement plan.
I don't like this new Chris that thinks it's okay to just lie to us all the time.
It's called Basic Business, chat. That's how I'm going to retire.
It's called The Ship of We, the People. That's what it's called. Don't let him fool you.
I've got 5 chapters done, and Gabe can attest. Gabe has read the first 5. We'll sell it on the Monument Hobbies website.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Do I have any say here?
No. Not for this one, Jason.
There you go. People are taking over, it seems, chat. The inmates are running the asylum now. Welcome to my life.
Oh, wow. Sorry, I've missed some questions. Let's go back up here. Going back up. Oh, here's the question that I wanted to get us to answer. This one. I really enjoy when you demonstrated a shadow and shade up to the base color and several highlights of levels of highlights for the ghost keel. I'm struggling with the proper Pro colors selections for a paint scheme for Blood Angels. Well, do we have a scheme for you?
Do we love you? It's almost like we paid you to ask.
And there it is. Welcome to Blood Angels.
I really, really like this Blood Angel scheme that I came up with, which is Payne's Gray, a very dark bluish, blackish color as my base, into dark plum. So I'll pull the colors for you here. Payne's Gray, bam, as a base, and then dark plum, right, which is a reddish, purplish, dark, shade as well. And then your favorite, Bold Pyro right over the top. right? And then into the bold Pyrrole, I started doing warm flesh.
Blood Angels came out great.
Warm flesh.
You get a lot of you use that thing. That is your like one of the biggest examples.
Yeah, well, it's a color that a lot of people have a problem making because red, while being a very good abrupt color, it has a lot of flash to it. If you don't layer it up right, it feels like it's missing something.
Yeah.
And pale pink has the final highlight. So if you want to pop in, right, that's what you get. It's great, and there's no mixing of color except for this mix here to get the kind of salmony highlight color, and then the pale pink as the final, right? This gives you a really good in-between. Nowadays, you could probably, because we didn't have orange red at the time, nowadays you could probably just replace that with orange red, right? And not worry about it too much. And then you don't have to mix anything. Right? This was just airbrushed one layer after the other, and then the brush with the pale pink.
It's a pretty cool workup.
Yeah, it works great. It gives you a really nice distinguishing shadow that isn't just a dark red. It cools off because it has the blue. Obviously, I've used blue for like the lightning claws and the jump pack colors and things like that, so I have some intensity of the blue there too, but even without it, it works really, really well.
Killjoy saying, I have the base set, but struggle to paint realistic leather. What do you recommend?
Base set, dark umber, followed by light umber, and then ivory is in the base set. So that would be a good workup. And then you would need, in order to make that really, really easy, get transparent brown.
Transparent brown is magical, Killjoy. If you haven't seen that video, I'm going to show you this.
Yeah, transparent brown is the key to success in that realm because it gives you the ability to paint dark umber, light umber as a mid-tone. So dark umber as a shade, light umber as a mid-tone, and then ivory as a highlight. The ivory will look completely wrong because it's too bright. And then you put the transparent brown over the top, and it looks great. We just did that on our horse, right? Our undead horse and the leather on this. That's how all this is done. Right?
And
so
with
like
some
the saddle,
you did some stippling.
Leather strap. Yeah, I stippled with, in this case, I used ivory flesh, or olive flesh. But say you could use ivory, right? So all of the straps and saddle and everything, I just kind of stipple the olive flesh in this case on there and do the edge highlighting and do the edge highlighting with dots to make it look like the leather's a little beaten up rather than smooth edge trim. You want to make sure that you know, if you look in like these belts on the back, you can see I didn't just do a line. I did the line with a bunch of dots. And then the brown transparent over the top of that blends it all together and gives it a really cool coloring. But that's a great, easy way to do all your leather, right? It just becomes so repeatable. It does wood very well, too.
Oh, I got to get some Ents.
Yeah, it works really well for wood.
But
anything you're painting brown with it works.
I have trees at home that I need to paint. Surprise, surprise.
We'll name the paints exactly what they are and then never use them the way you would intend them to be used. Yes, 100%. That's the way we get you. All right, we make a paint called green. How do you paint green? Well, let me grab this blue.
Well, we have a color called dark ivory. I do have a bunch of I have several projects going right now, Agrippa, because I know you want to know. Because you have not seen the proof. Maybe I'll start giving you more proof. Don't make me show you. I will. Don't make me show you. I have trees. Trust me. I have
too many trees.
I just bought another
arborist.
pack of trees the other day.
He's a closet arborist.
I've got
or arsonist.
I got trees that I'm doing. I'm doing a bunch of terrain. That's my next one. I'm doing Frostgrave Warband. I've got Gargants. I've got an Earthworm Gym diorama that is coming to life. And now that I think about it, this is actually going to be a great video for me to edit because this scheme looks oddly like the Earthworm Gym thing that I want to do. But I've got that. Oh gosh, what else? I've just finished Moonstone. I got a lot going on. All right.
All right.
I've been on a big demon kick. Like I've just been doing that. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Oh, Mo. If you haven't painted in front of us, Chris, I don't believe you. Painting at home. I got a whole setup, Mo.
He's painted in front of you. He just only uses house brushes.
All right. You know what I'll do? You know what? I'll do basing. How about that?
Had a lot of people asking about basing lately.
I can do my Gargant base workup. That's the thing, though. We don't have, like, I've got... I guess I could find some stone or something. But we'll figure it out. Don't make me dance.
Monkey dance.
Don't make me dance. We'll figure it out one of these days. Maybe when Jason leaves us. When do you leave us again? Oh, that's not for a while, actually.
End of May.
Oh, okay. We got time for that.
End of May, Chad. As long as they give me my passport. I had to go get my passport renewed, and boy, was that a drama.
Hey, speaking of drama, it's 3:55.
I don't believe you. You just don't want to be here anymore.
No,
you don't like spending time with me, Chris.
Oh, wow.
I took the warm yellow, and even over the parts where I had not, I intentionally left some of the areas just with the burnt sienna as a base. Then I added the warm yellow burnt sienna mix to where the highlight areas would be, and did not paint it over the side panel areas where it wouldn't be as bright, or like on the entire back side of this, right? I only put it in the top areas, right? And then I take the warm yellow and paint it over all of those. So it will brighten them all up, but you will start to get a blend. So one of the things that you have to think of as you're doing your layering is that take your brighter color, put it over the previous color, like in this case our mid-tone, but also paint it over your shadow color, because while it will brighten it up, it will not brighten it up as much. So it'll keep things with their correct values, as you can see, right? The side of these humps on the head here are all darker still, but I'm still moving them into that world of yellow more. Like down here on the chin, I can do the same thing. And when I glaze the yellow over the top of all of it, it will brighten it up a little bit, but won't make it as bright as the brightest sections of the helmet. And this will give you the illusion of having blended all of these together, when in reality it's just individual paint. But it gives us a lot more depth to it. If you pop in close, you'll notice how rough all this is still. Right?
Still looks great, though, from like what you're describing. You're kind of letting the color do the work.
Yeah, that's really it. When you get to a point where you understand value, then like I said, the color is less relevant. I would do this with any color. I would paint the dark version of it, blend it with the mid-tone and paint the second version, then use the mid-tone and glaze it over both, and I would steadily increase the value as I go, right? So I'm never having just the burnt sienna sit on its own. As I glaze it on the chin piece here, notice how I cover both the bright area and the dark area, and it keeps that shadow, but now it makes it all blend. It looks like I've done a lot more work than I really have. What, are you having a revelatory moment over there?
I am. There's so many things I want to paint right now that I decide not to veer, but sometimes I think I need to set myself up for veering. Does that make sense? Like I need to be able to set myself up.
You learn something and then you're like, I have the perfect thing to do this.
So I need to be able to shift, right?
There we go. Let's see, that gives us a good start for yellow. I keep a little bit of shadow as we dip off into the back of the head. I keep shadow as we go towards the cup of the chin, and I start moving things for you. And this isn't the brightest yellow we'll use, but this starts to give me all of those blends without really blending. I haven't done anything other than mix colors together and a little bit of glazing. Nothing that you can't do. It's all very simple stuff. And even though there's roughness there, I still have other colors to put over the top that will blend all that together. I could even use the airbrush to do my final blend and smooth it out. Since we have this kind of airbrush finish to the white, I might want to do that. So we'll work a little bit more on that on Monday.
Wow. Mo.
Chris, you should paint a ship.
I should paint a ship.
I think I want to see Chris build a ship in a bottle.
That would kill me. But
how much would you pay, chat,
for me to build a ship in the bottle?
Stream. I just want the stream where he opens the kit and tries to figure it out. I just want 2 hours of Chris with no instructions and a bunch of balsa wood and string.
Get it?
And a bottle. And a long pair of forceps.
That's an expensive bottle, Agrippa.
Can we put Chris in a bottle?
It's an expensive bottle.
That's where he came from. He is a djinn.
Some of the finest wine you'll ever drink.
Everyone, it is 3:59.
It's 4:00 now.
Thank you. We did. It just flipped over to 4. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, everybody. If you're new around here, please hit that follow button if you're on Twitch, or the subscribe button over on the YouTubes. We stream on both platforms Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona. We'd love to see you back. We have a lot of fun, do a lot of painting, answer a lot of questions. Thank you so much for driving those questions forward. We are here to help you find your way along this amazing miniature painting journey. There's no wrong answers. Well, there's probably a lot of wrong answers from me, but there's no stupid questions. So a great place to start. So we love being able to hang out with you guys on a daily basis. Make sure to check out all the links that Chris put up in chat. You've got the link to monumenthobbies.com, our wonderful web store where we sell all our products. Next time you need some hobby goods, give us a shot. I think you will enjoy what you find. Our Procoat paint is rated amongst the top in the world, if not the best paint in the universe. So try it. It makes hobbying so much easier and delightful. And check out the Discord where we have over 5,600 amazing artists in the Discord that tuned in for Monument Hobbies After Dark. Wait a minute. We did Monument Hobbies After Dark? Did we? I noticed the alarm got disabled late last night. Did you come in and do an After Dark stream? Okay. I'm going to have to watch things closer, Chet.
It got this. Oh, okay.
Monument After Dark. That's where the hot tub bubbles.
Oh, I didn't.
So, thanks for hanging out with us. Stick around. Chris is going to find somebody to raid. We're going to pass all this great hobby goodness along. If you showed up here from one of the other places, make sure to show some love in the chat we wind up in. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. It is Friday, and we won't see you again until Monday, but we'll be expecting to see you back then. Enjoy it. We'll see you on Monday. Adios, gang.